Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 12 of Crestie Conversations here on the Geckoverse podcast channel. As always, I'm your host, Josh, the owner and human behind Georgia Cresties. How are we doing this evening? It is good to see y'all this Tuesday. We're back on schedule, right? I told you, we're trying to get back on schedule and do better. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Welcome in. If you missed our last episode, we were going over 40 of your most common crested gecko questions. So, if you are interested in looking at that, want to see what that's all about, want to know more about all your common questions that you have, go check that out, okay? This week on Crestie Conversations, we are going to be talking about why choose a crested gecko. Everyone has their own reasons, but here I'm going to go through the pros and cons, whether you are a avid breeder, someone just has a couple geckos, or even different reptiles, and is thinking about getting a crested gecko, or someone that has no reptiles at all and is wanting to get their first reptile. We're going to get into all of the positives and negatives of crested geckos. And without further ado, let's go. Let's get into it, okay? Let's see what Clint has to say. Hey, Josh, what's up, Clint? It's good to see you. Welcome back. I hope you have been doing well. I've been doing all right. I've had ups and downs over the last couple weeks, but you know what? F it, we ball, right? So let's get into it. We're talking about why choose a crested gecko. So first off, what is a crested gecko? It is going to be known as Coralophus cialis. They are originally from New Caledonia off the west or east coast of Australia. Now, they were originally thought to be extinct up until 1994 when some scientists rediscovered them while they were doing research on the island when a big storm was going on and a crested gecko was knocked out of the tree and it landed right there on the window where they were doing the research of the local flora and fauna. So I thought that was really cool. Just out of nowhere, no one knew about these things, and then it just fell out of a tree, and a scientist happened to see it, and that's how they were rediscovered. Like, I think that's pretty dang cool. So other than that, they were brought here shortly after that into the United States, and so people have been breeding them for the last 25, 30 years. Or wait, no, 25, yeah, 30 years, 25, 30 years, and we have just really we've discovered a lot in the crested gecko world, but there's still so much going on as far as morphs, patterns, structure, all these different things, building the quality of your geckos. That is just so much more to learn about them and learn about their environment, how they live, and how to make them thrive as well. So, for those that are unfamiliar of what a crested gecko is or why it has that name, let's show that. Okay. So this is a crested gecko here. Now, why do you say crests? Because of these little eyelashes here, the little spikes, and then the little spikes all the way down the body here. Those are called crests. Okay? They look spiky, they look like they'll hurt. They're not, they're pretty soft. Makes them look like a little dinosaur. I always thought that was cute. Um, so, yeah, it goes all the way down. Part of like good structure, having very nice crests go all the way down. Now with your different morphs, some of them it breaks up the pinning or like the crest line, and that's okay. But again, having this is a lily white, we have the almost fully blocked out dorsal in white, and then this little white line that goes along the bottom here. That's showing that that is the markers of a lily white, as well as for the tail the top of it will always be completely white. So down below here, like the halfway point, it can be have color on it, and on the bottom it can have color, but on the top it'll be all white. So that is what a crested gecko looks like. Okay, they have these cool little eyes here that they have invisible eyelids that are permanently closed. So you will never beat them in a staring contest because all that happens is that they lick their eyes, okay? Whenever water debris gets on them, they just simply lick it off and they're ready to go again. So it's really cool. They have irises like cats. You can and snakes. You can see is very vertical. They're very very neat eyes. And then they also have these toes here, the little webbed, but they have they're called setae, very very tiny scales that have transformed over, have modified over the generations of their existence to where they react with the neurons and the object opposite of it, and it forms a solid bond to where it can grip onto any like solid surface. So walls, floor. I mean, obviously floors, but ceilings, plastic, glass, wood. They can climb on all of that, and that's something I think is really cool too. I remember one time. I'll come back to me real quick. I remember one time I was feeding my geckos. Hello, welcome back. So I was feeding my geckos, and this was when I was at my parents' house. I'm in my own place. I have my own room where I feed them in my own room now. But I was feeding them in the. I was preparing all the food in the bathroom, and then I would just walk out into my room. It was connected, and put the bowls in. But so I had one of the geckos out, and he was on the table or the countertop. Okay, it was Nike. If any of y'all remember Nike or seen him in my Instagram, I no longer have him. I sold him last year, and he's been breeding for another crested gecko breeder here in Georgia. So I have not seen the babies. I'm hoping to hear from that guy in the near future and see what his babies look like because he had such a dark base. But anyways, getting sidetracked. Nike was out on my countertop, and I went to give out some food, and I came back and he wasn't there anymore. I was like, "What the heck?" I was looking down, looking all around, and then I was like, "Hold on, this dude could be anywhere. Okay, he can stick to anything in this room right now." And so I look up, I look in the corner, and he's sitting there right there, like staring at me. Just be like, "Yeah, I'm up here, buddy. I'm up here." And so I was like, dang it. And so, of course, he was perfectly out of reach. Okay, so my big butt had to climb up on my counter and get up there and get him down because he would not come down to me. Okay, so if you get a crested gecko, you have to be prepared to have them anywhere. This brings me to my next point: is you always have to make sure that when you have your crested gecko out, that you have to be with them. You can't leave them out like you can do a snake or a bearded dragon, a tegu, stuff like that. That's a lot larger reptile because you can easily spot them. These you could step on them by accident because again, they only get between like right around 10 inches with their tail. So it's going to be really hard to spot them, and especially if they could be in your last shoe on your shoe rack, and you have 28 pairs of shoes. Okay, it's going to be really hard to find them. Where a bearded dragon or any of those others I mentioned, they're going to be a lot easier to spot. Okay, so you always have to be around them and like not handling them, but within like eye shot, and you have to know and keep up with the gecko because you don't want them to get lost. Clint says, "Great story. I got a visual." Haha. Thank you, Clint. I appreciate your humor in me climbing up onto my counter and getting that gecko because I stood there for like 3-4 minutes just trying to be like, come here, come here. He would not. I tried to like poke him with something. He would not move. It was it was a load of crap, honestly, but it was funny. um, so yeah, like I said, they get about like around 10 inches long with their tail. Now, crested geckos, unlike most other gecko species, they once they drop their tails, they do not grow them back. Okay. Now, their tails are a great appendage, like a fifth appendage, kind of like a monkey's tail. They use it when they overshoot their jumps. They grab on and they literally swing around back up. It's pretty fun to watch. So they will be up during the night, jumping around and using their tail to latch onto stuff. But when they lose their tail, it takes them like a week, not even that long, but like a week to like get used to it, and it doesn't impact them like health wise or anything. They're designed to drop their tails and run, so it's their built-in safety feature. Uh, so they will not grow their tail back. It will be a little bloody, and the tail will twitch around. That's what it's supposed to do. So don't be scared if that happens. But if you're in that situation and you start to see the gecko's tail start going in like a full circle, just step back a moment, okay? Don't try to like grab the gecko like to calm it down. Just step away a minute, and then when it doesn't see the object that's 1,000 times bigger than it, staring at it, trying to grab it, it can calm down, and you have a good chance of it stopping, dropping its tail, and it won't drop its tail. I've had that happen twice so far, where I've had a gecko start to throw their tail, but I backed up from them. I backed up like 6 feet, like COVID times. Give me my 6 feet. I miss that. I hate when people ride up on my butt, like in a grocery line. I'm like, come on, dude. Or like they have like kids, and their kids are like coughing on you and like talking, whining. No, I need my 6 feet. All right, who else agrees? I know someone gotta agree, but so they need their space. Um, and back up, and they will not freak out anymore. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Let's get back on that train. So, why crested geckos make good pets? Okay, so I honestly like them because they're adorable as heck. Okay, I love their little dorky little looks that they have in their eyes and in their faces, and then if you don't know, crested geckos, they only have two brain cells that ping around in their head, and you're lucky if you get to catch when those two happen and they decide what to do. Okay, they're not amazing thinkers. Okay, speaking about that, crested geckos do not have the capability of love. Okay, even though you may think that they love you, they want to spend all the time in the world with you, they don't. Okay, they don't have that capability. They're adorable, cute, and all like that, but they don't have the capability of love, even though we do. So if you're looking for an animal that you want to like cuddle with all the time, or like be around all the time, crested geckos are not going to be the ones for you because generally, you're not going to want to cuddle them at all because uh, their temperature range is between 68 and 78 degrees. Us being 98.5, that's way too warm. So if they're in a pocket or something, that's not going to end well. They can die in like 10, 15 minutes if they're like secluded away, like around somewhere warm on you. And that has happened. I haven't had it happen. But yeah, so they're not going to cuddle with you. If you want something to love on, cuddle on, squeeze, all that, get a dog, cat, bearded dragon, something a lot bigger. These things get at most I've seen 80 grams. So again, very small animals need to be handled very lightly with a light touch. So other things to consider when getting a crested gecko is that generally they are known as the easiest like starter reptile. That being said, you still have to take very good care of them and you have to stay on top of care because again, they're a living animal and they deserve to be appreciated and taken care of appropriately. Correct? Correct. All right. So generally they're low maintenance. You are going to have them in their own tank. Again, their own tank, not sharing it with a bunch of others. Um, there's going to be more vertical, like you see here, than it is wide. They are arboreal in nature, like I mentioned in the story earlier about them being rediscovered. They jumped out of the tree. They're arboreal in nature, so they're always going to need more vertical space than horizontal. Okay, you're also going to want to have a ton of foliage and a lot of places for them to hide. If you need to see examples of that, go check out my Instagram. And if you want, one day I'll do a tank tour. Okay, a little TT with y'all, a little tank tour with Josh. Okay, and I'll show you all the geckos and the tanks and how I have them set up. They're pretty much generally in the same like schematics and blueprints, but I do a little bit different things like different objects that I hang up and stuff. But so yeah, lighting, as long as you have enough natural light in the room during the day, you don't have to have an extra light. And UVB is not necessary, okay? Sorry. Yeah, it's not necessary if you are supplementing with calcium with D3 when you give your insects every week, okay? If you're not giving calcium with D3, you have to use UVB, okay? So that's a little like cost cutting, I guess, but not really. But when you have 47 of them. Yes, 47 now. Um, UVB is quite expensive if you're not in the wheelhouse of getting UVB at the time is not necessary as long as you give calcium with D3 in it. So, and then also you're spraying the tanks about once a day. All right. So people that have just a couple geckos, one gecko, two geckos, something like that, you're just getting into it. You can get an automatic sprayer or automatic mister and have that go off at night. But again, you have to be very careful about how much that's actually misting. Okay, a little goes a long way with them. You're gonna want to have a hygrometer in the tank that reads the man. I can't even the humidity. There we go. I don't know what I'm doing tonight, guys. My bad. And so for a low during the daytime when they're sleeping, you're going to want it to be around 30 to 40% humidity. And then at nighttime when you spray or when you have that automatic mister go off for them, you want it to spike to around 80 to like 90, 95%. And then it'll go like, obviously when you first spray, if you like spray in the tank, it's going to jump to 100% if it was down at 30, 40%. So it's okay if it's like 20, 30 minutes, 100%, 98%, it's okay because obviously it's going to air out. But being in a more tropical, like rainforest-esque biome, that is what they require. Okay. So again, like I said, you do not need a heat lamp for them as long as it's between 68 and 78 degrees. I have a air conditioning unit in my gecko room here that keeps it generally, I believe, at 72 degrees during the day, or sorry, at night 72 degrees, and then during the day it's around 75 to 77, I believe, just so it's giving them a good fluctuation of temperature that they need daily. Um, their diet, like I said, insects, crickets, or dubia roaches is what you feed them. Now, if you don't want to have to do that, you can get them, um, just blend them into their normal food that is like a powder. It kind of looks like a protein powder that you add water to, 2 parts water, 1 part powder. And it has all the nutrients they need in it, all the vitamins, everything they need to be a growing, happy baby and baby gecko and get to adulthood because they do live 15 to 20 years in captivity. Okay, very important to know. So if you're looking to get a crested gecko, you have to be prepared for the long haul. Oh, look, it's a little baby, tiny little 5 gram gecko. Oh, I didn't know it was going to live 22 years. There's some in captivity that are like 25 years old. So, again, in a captivity, we're just learning about them. That's 25 years ago is like when they were brought to America. Okay? So, again, we're learning about more of them in captivity that are living longer. So you have to be prepared for owning a gecko and for the long term. Like, say where you're going to be, oh, in 20 years, do I still see myself having a gecko or do I think I may grow out of it? If that's the case, then I probably want to get a dog, some other animal, because again, you want to be able to put everything into caring for the reptile as possible because they deserve it, right? Um, Again, like I said, the food grinded up. I feed Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Saturday, I'm giving the insects. Monday, Wednesday, I'm giving the Pangea growth and breeding, is what I give all of my geckos. Now, going on to my next point, geckos, my crested geckos are pretty much calm and friendly temperament, okay? Now, again, you have all of your variable geckos that have their own temperaments, but generally, crested geckos are pretty calm and docile in nature. That's why they're very popular pets here. They're also um, they're pretty dang cute, and most part they're pretty slow. I mean, I know when you get them out at first, they're jumping around, but again, it's on you. It's not like they're running across the house. They're not tearing stuff up. Okay, they're not peeing, pooping, scratching, coloring on walls, doing any of that. Okay, they're staying in their tanks. They're chilling. Um, Again, they're mostly chilling. You have them out 10 to 20 minutes a day. Not a day, every other day is what I do with my geckos. Again, like I said, you're not going to want to overhandle them. They're going to be stressed out. They are very solitary creatures. That's why I like them a lot because I'm very solitary too. You don't have to be with them every moment, every time, like a dog. Not a cat, but like a dog, you have to be there every moment with it, or it's going to be around you every moment. If you're not wanting that kind of commitment, or you're just not that person, like you're more of a cat person, gecko would be good, but you can't have them in the same room. Okay, cats break into the tanks and kill the geckos, eat the geckos, stuff like that, or maim the geckos. Not good. Okay, don't want geckos being maimed. Okay, so but if you're more of a cat person and can keep them in a different room, crested geckos are probably an animal that you would like. Again, like I said, you're going to be misting once a day. Have automatic mister. You don't have to do that. You're feeding 3 times a week, handling it every other day, 10, 20 minutes. And again, once you build up that bond with them, you can 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I've had one of mine, he'll watch a movie with me, like a couple hours. It just depends on them. So you have to, the more you put into them, the more you're going to get out. Just like the more you train a dog, the better they're behaved or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. The more you work with them, handle them, the more used to you they'll be. They'll recognize you more, and then they'll be more calm to you. It was actually adorable. Bo, excuse me, ew. Bo, my first crested gecko that I got tonight when I went to mist his tank right before I came on here, I opened his lid and he jumped onto the bottom of his lid and ran all the way up to the top and ran like to me and like crawled onto my shoulder. I was like, oh, that's so cute. Like that's adorable. Like he knew that I was like there because obviously I turn the light on, I play music, they know I'm there, and he heard me open his tank and he came running out to me immediately. Like that's awesome. I've had him 6 years now. Yeah. And so the bond that we've built together is like really, really cool. I love like hanging out with him. And but again, like I said, they're solitary creatures. Not every time you go to hang out with them, they're gonna want to hang out. Sometimes they'll just run away, try to not be with you, and that's cool, okay? Let them have their own decisions. Just because you want to hang out with them or you want to do something with them doesn't mean they have to do it, okay? If they're not in the mood, they don't have to do it, okay? Don't make them perform for you just because you want to be like gecko, okay? Let them have free will. Not too much though, but keep them in check, but let them have free will, okay? So they, like I said, long lifespan, and there's somewhat space efficient when you have a couple of them, not as many as I do, but or have hundreds of them. So they are pretty safe, space efficient. The adult tanks here are 18 by 24. Okay, so that's the all the adults will need when they are 25, 26 grams plus. You'll put them in an 18 by 18 by 24, and that's all they will need. So it's not taking up a large amount of your space, and it's not costing you too much for like electricity. You may need to get a light depending on what part of the house he's in. Again, not in front of a window. You can have them near a window, but not in front because during the day it could bake them and be way too hot in there. And with being in glass or plastic enclosures is going to make it hotter in the tank when it's the sun's beating in during the day, and that's not good. That no, okay, away from the windows, but enough light to where they can tell it's daytime. Okay, so care and habitat requirements. I kind of got into the setup for it. You can have live plants or you can have fake plants, and you can have different kind of substrates as well. I prefer to use paper towels because it's easier to clean up when I have so many of them, like I've said a few times already. But it makes it a lot easier. But you can also do bioactive, where you have little cleanup crews in the substrate, cocoa husk, dirt, whatever you want to do. Not sand. Okay, crested geckos are not on sand. Cocoa fiber, dirt, stuff like that. Okay, uh, a lot of leaves. You can have leaves on there, moss, uh, different plants. I do not have the list with me here, but you can go online and find Crested Gecko safe plants, and you can go deck out your enclosures with really, really cool plants, and you can make really, really cool backgrounds and little scenescapes for them. It's really, really cool. You can have fun with it. I enjoy making my tanks because I get to make them how I want to, get to put everything where I want to. That's why I have the pool noodles in there and like the plastic, because I can just solder a hole, get a little soldering iron, poke a hole in it, zip tie whatever I want to it, and then whenever it's dirty, whenever I need to clean it, I take it out and clean it. Now, cleaning, on the other hand, you clean every week. So it typically takes, I mean, when you're doing just a couple geckos, 20, 30 minutes. It just depends if you're doing a big clean. So every week I just take the toilet toilet paper. I take the paper towels out and I get a disinfectant, a veterinary disinfectant. You can use Rescue, RESCUE. It's just different, like hyphen or upper and lowercase. And then there's also F10. Those are two that I use and have used that are safe for them. I'm sure there's others, but those are like ready to use disinfectants that you can just spray and wipe out. And then I wipe down every part of the tank. I wipe down the noodles. Every month, I'll take the noodles out, exchange them, and take all of the foliage out and put it in hot water in the bathtub and put distilled white vinegar in it, dilute it in the hot water, and just let it sit till the water gets cool, and then drain it out, rinse it off, and then before I put it into the enclosures for the next geckos, I go and wipe it off with the disinfectant on the paper towel as well. And that's how I keep my gecko tanks clean and smelling nicely. So I honestly would not go longer than a week without cleaning the tanks because they're little demons and love to like make their tanks dirty. They'll step in their food, knock their food bowls over, climb on the walls, so you have like foods smeared all over the walls and stuff. So and then they poop a lot too. For little tiny things, they can poop pretty big. I mean, it's not still like that big or whatever, but again, for them, their little bodies, that's a lot of poop. Okay. Um, but yeah, so again, like I said, they're pretty easy to handle as well. You always want to like pretty much walk them like a dog, hand in front, and then you're never gonna go over. Okay, never go over because their natural predators are birds. Okay, birds are flying over. If they see something coming over them, they're gonna freak out. So always try to go under. If they're in a weird spot in their tank, just go very slowly towards them and scoop them up from try to scoop from the face, not from the butt, so they don't think you're trying to grab them or anything, but try to very if you're grabbing, just try to scoop them, okay? That makes it a lot easier for them. It makes them not freak out as much. um, yeah, just support their whole body. They are going to jump and try to get to the highest point possible. That means if you're holding them here, he's going to jump to your chest, okay? And then he's going to crawl to your shoulder, and then he's going to try to crawl to your head. That's just what they do. They're arboreal. They love going up high. So if a good trick that I have learned in handling geckos is if you ever have them in the middle of your, like if they're on your shoulder and they start going down your back or whatever, or if they're on a part of you where you can't reach them and you want to get them to be in your hand again, with your hand like this, okay? Hand like this, flat up, okay? Not like that, this, okay? Pay attention. Hold your arm up like that, okay? Okay, and of course it may take them a second to notice, but generally within like a minute, they always start running up my arm, trying to get to the highest point, and you have a gecko in your hand. Let's see what Clint says. Um, I use the same cleaning method. Way to go, bro. Thank you, Clint. I appreciate that. Gecko owners supporting gecko owners. We love to see it. Thank you. Um, but yeah, so definitely keep up with them. Every, oh shoot, what's going on? What are you doing? I didn't even touch nothing. We just started going bonkers. That is crazy. We back now. Um, welcome back. Um, that was weird. I didn't even touch nothing, y'all. Okay, so that is about it that we have for tonight. A couple things to keep in mind when getting a crested gecko is how much time do you really have for it? Again, you're not going to need a lot, but are you going to be able to be consistent when you're getting a crested gecko and having a crested gecko to be able to provide the life that they need. Again, they require daily care, every other day care. If you have a mister and automatic light in your room, um, every other day, again, you're going to be handling them very carefully. And some people, you may be weird, you may not even know it. Some people can be allergic to the insects that you feed. So if you or someone develops an allergy to crickets or dubia worm or dubia roaches, you would have to modify that. Um, get rid of the person, not the gecko, right? There you go. Um, and make sure you are always getting your gecko or any reptile that you get from a reputable breeder, okay? Make sure that they are licensed in the state that they are in. Not just because they're licensed doesn't mean they're the best, holiest gecko breeder ever. There's still a lot that have licenses that are not great breeders. So make sure you do your research on that breeder. Make sure that they have people that are backing them, or just make sure that they're doing the right things. And how do you know that they're doing the right things? By doing research, by watching podcasts like this one here, or other ones online as well, or just going into Google and doing a quick search, going on ChatGPT and typing in, how do I best care for my gecko, or what if X happens, what do I do with my crested gecko? Just so you're prepared, or what should I look for, and what should a crested gecko properly look like? Just to go like that into making a better decision for you, just so that you and the gecko isn't hurt later on down the road, mentally, gecko, maybe physically, if it was from a unethical breeder that wasn't breeding correctly. So watch out for that. Make sure that you're getting from a reputable source, and you will all be happy. Your gecko will live a long, happy life. They will be very happy with you if you provide them everything that we've talked about here and more. If you want to find out all the nitty gritty details, go back and look at the videos that I've posted here before, and you can see and find out how to best care for your gecko. All right, let's see what Clint says. I like your handling tip trick. I'll use that for sure. Yeah, thank you, Clint. I appreciate that. Yeah. Um, Again, another handling tip for you, Clint, okay, and all of you others out there. Um, I also have a sound for my geckos, so they know like when I'm in the area. So I always have like a tisk tisk sound, like that, so that they know that I'm about to handle them, that I'm about to put food in, that I'm about to touch them, just so it gives them an extra sense of knowing what's about to happen before it happens. Or they know, oh, hey, dad, or our creator is here. Or sorry, I see it as overseer. I saw it in a movie recently. Our overseer is here. And they come out or hide if they want to, if they're not in the mood. But I have gotten them used to, I do a little tap, like wherever I'm at, I go like just like that, 1 2 1 2, and they get used to that as well, the sound, the vibration of it happening, and looking at it, seeing it as well. It lets them know that I'm there, and it gets them, oh hey, I'll go to dad, or I'll go to overseer, and he'll give me food, or he'll handle me if I want to be handled, and like that. So those are a couple other little tricks that I've learned that is makes it easier to handle them. Now, something else while we're talking about handling is you want to go very gently down the back to start with, the little dorsal area, and then when they're calm or more accepting to that, because again, they're not always gonna want to be handled every time, like I've said, but when they get more receptive to just down the dorsal, then I'd go up to the head a little bit, not all the way to the eyes. Okay, no one wants to be petted on the forehead. Do you? No. Okay, so like start in the middle of the head or whatever, and then go down. You'll just pet them from like the middle of the head down. You'll see the little head stamp in the middle of the head down. Okay, and then I start rubbing it along their crests, around like their ears and stuff. I'll rub around the crest, and then I start going down the body. I'll do it on one side. I'll go like the very top right below the pen line. I'll start petting right there, and And then after that, I'll start working my way down the body, and so they get more comfortable with it, and so that if that gecko is one that I'm going to be selling in the future, that uh, they're already having a head start on being handled and being calmer around people. Because I know if I'm buying a gecko, I want to make sure that it is a calm gecko, because calm geckos make more calm geckos. All right, another little tip for you. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, Clint. I appreciate you as always. And I hope to see y'all on the next episode of Crestie Conversations, which should be not next Tuesday, the Tuesday after. All right. So I will see y'all then. Thank you for joining me tonight, and as always, keep it Crestie, bestie. All right. Thank y'all so much. Have a good night. Let's see what Clint says. Oh yeah, I remember you saying how you use sound and tapping. Yeah, definitely, right? So again, sounds, tapping, having something repetitive, kind of making Pavlov them. Okay, Pavlov dogs those geckos. All right, just constantly, ring the bell, treat falls out. Same thing with the geckos. Just repetitive, repetitive. That's what you need to do with the geckos. Repetition makes them learn and remember longer, because again, their attention span ain't that long if they only got 2 brain cells up there, right? So make it easier on them. Make a pattern for them. Repeat it, and you're gonna get there and win. All right. Thank y'all so much. Keep it crusty, besties. Have a good night.